Anytime 4-2's in front of me, I'm comfortable, so I'm good.
Welcome back, Pat Ricard, man. Much needed move for the Ravens. We obviously have been losing a lot of guys at the start of free agency, which I was not surprised by. I mean, this pretty much happens every year. It's why I'm not even stressing it. But I did want to bring back a couple more key guys, our Darius Washington being the other one that's still not brought back officially yet, even though he'll be a restricted free agent, so I'm not super concerned about that. But Pat Ricard was one of the other guys I was like, we need to re-sign, and it just happened. He's back on a one-year, $2.9 million deal with a $1.44 million cap hit. The fact that it's only 1 year tells me a few things. Either he's kind of at the end of his career and maybe he's thinking about retiring, or the Ravens are thinking about going a different direction in the future and not having a fullback. I mean, that's a very likely scenario. Most teams in the NFL don't have a fullback. I know we love to have a fullback. We still love to have power runs and use Patrick Ricard in a variety of ways, but that is being phased out of the league. And at some point, the Ravens aren't going to have a Pat Ricard. So it definitely doesn't mean that they wouldn't re-sign him again next offseason. But since it's only a one-year deal, it does obviously create the scenario that he's only here for this year, and this isn't a long-term relationship where he doesn't have a lot longer in his career left. Maybe he's just ready to hang it up. So we'll see. But regardless, I'm celebrating the fact that he's back. Very smart move by Eric DeCosta to bring him back. It didn't cost much at all. I mean, a $1.44 million cap hit is very low, and he's beyond worth that. So this is a very, very smart move for Baltimore. I know Derrick Henry's hype. I mean, Patrick Ricard and Derrick Henry is a hell of a duo, and defenses are going to be frustrated once again playing these guys. Who wants to have a 300-pound lineman slash defensive tackle running downhill at you with Derrick Henry right behind? I mean, it's a deadly duo, man. And we still haven't signed Derrick Henry to an extension yet. I don't know if that's coming. I originally thought it might be coming, but now his $10 million cap hit kind of looks like a bargain. I wouldn't be shocked if a 1 or 2 year extension does come for Derrick Henry, but at this point, they're both entering their final years together. This might not be a long-term duo, man. We might not have Pat Ricard and Derrick Henry together for a couple more years. This year might be it, so let's enjoy it while it's here. It's still going to be incredibly fun to watch. I think they're going to be really successful. This offense is going to be elite again. You know, it was a historic offense, not only on the ground, but also through the air last year. And I don't know if they'll match those exact numbers. They don't, have to match those exact numbers to still have a great year. Derrick Henry doesn't have to run for 1,900 yards, but I still think that this offense is going to be very versatile and have a very successful run game as well. And Pat Ricard and Derrick Henry are everything to that. And Jonas Schaefer pointed this out, but I wanted to highlight it. With this Patrick Ricard signing, the entire tight end slash fullback room is all in their final year. We obviously have been talking about Mark Andrews quite a bit throughout this offseason. We'll see what ends up happening with that. But as we stand right now, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Charlie Kolar, and Pat Ricard are all on their final years. So next year, this room is most likely going to look substantially different than it does this year. And with Pat Ricard, there's really only one more Ravens free agent that I really think we need to re-sign, and that's our Darius Washington. And I'm expecting that to happen soon. I mean, he is a restricted free agent. I don't know what tender they're going to put on him. That hasn't been announced yet, whether it's a second-round tender or just the regular restricted free agent tender. Regardless, I think the Ravens will match whatever contract he does get offered, if he gets offered a deal somewhere else, or they just agree to their own extension and he doesn't even have to do that dance with another team. But I really think our Darius Washington is headed back to Baltimore, just waiting for that news to drop, to be honest. And then I'm not against re-signing Christian Welch or Tyler Wallace or some other free agents that the Ravens have out there, but I don't think it's a necessity. I think we definitely need to sign our Darius Washington back. Pat Ricard was the other one that we just got done. And then after that, let's go hunting in free agency. Let's see what we can get. You know, I know the Ravens don't like to sign a lot of guys, especially when they count against the comp pick formula. So they might be targeting guys who are released, like a Cooper Kupp, or if a Jair Alexander gets released, or whoever else might get released throughout this offseason. Those are the guys that I would be kind of keeping an eye on, because the Ravens don't like to lose comp picks. And if you sign a regular unrestricted free agent, it will counteract one of the other comp picks. I don't think we should constantly be thinking about that. I think sometimes we're probably a little, too conservative when it comes to that. Who really cares if a 5th round comp pick gets canceled out? But Eric DeCosta does care, and he likes to stack those 4th, 5th, 6th round comp picks up as much as possible. So I'm keeping my eyes on the guys who are going to get released. So Cooper Kupp is going to get released tomorrow. That's an interesting scenario. He will get to choose where he goes. I don't know if he'd want to play in Baltimore. I don't know if the targets will be there for whatever he's desiring, but I think that would be a good piece for the Ravens. I don't think it would cost a ton. So that option makes sense. If Jair Alexander does end up getting cut, I'd rather have him. I think that's kind of a dream scenario that we could probably work out and sign him to a couple-year deal, and then our outside corners are stacked, man. You got Jair Alexander and Nate Wiggins with Marlon in the slot, Kyle Hamilton deep, our Darius Washington. Maybe we draft a safety or draft another corner. I mean, that's one of the best secondaries in the NFL. So that gets me pretty excited. I'm hoping that the Ravens do get a bit more aggressive. I think they will, man. After looking at those Ronnie Stanley numbers, I talked about it in the last video that I dropped earlier today. After looking at those void years that they put on Ronnie's contract, I really think the Ravens could get aggressive. I don't think that they would just do that to be conservative, because it does kind of hurt you down the road. There's a risk there, that you're going to have a consequence for a few years from now. It doesn't just go away. That dead cat money on void years doesn't just disappear. So the Ravens did that for a reason. They want more cap room right now and for next year. This year and next year, the Ravens have cap room and can clear a ton more with Lamar, Roquan restructures, extensions, Marlon Humphrey extension. There's so many other options. Mark Andrews trade. There's so many ways to clear more cap room. So the Ravens can get as aggressive as they want, which is exciting. And I would keep an eye on guys that are getting released, because I think the Ravens will go after one of those at least. But super excited Pat Ricard is back. Let me know what you guys are thinking about. But super excited that Pat Ricard is back. Let me know what you guys are thinking about everything. I appreciate you tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.